Are sales hard for you? Maybe you feel weird selling things in general, or maybe you just don't know how to authentically sell the products that you know that others would totally benefit from. I mean, having a business involves sales. And you have this business idea and you want it to be successful, but where and how to sell your products seems to be the thing that's getting in the way. Well, today we're talking all about sales, so stick around. If you're feeling God call you to pivot life as you know it by leaving your career plans to start an online business and you're terrified of how you'd ever actually pull that off, then you're a mama with a calling and this is the podcast for you. Here's where we'll talk about everything from choosing the right business and running it as a mom to biblical inspiration and motivation to conquer your fears. Because even though it's causing you some anxiety, you're also excited because you know God's calling you to it. And that means you're headed to a life with more joy, fulfillment, and purpose like you've always wanted. Hi, I'm Alexia Carrillo, fellow mama with the calling, and I'm passionate about helping other moms like you step into their calling and not stay stuck in their career for fear of going against the grain. I believe it's okay to pivot and follow God's calling on your life without the guilt or shame for not doing what the world says you should do. This is the Mama with the Calling podcast, where we'll figure out how you can actually make this wild calling on your life become a reality. Let's grab some coffee and dive in. Okay, so before we get into today's episode, I want to remind you that if you haven't already entered the free giveaway for the Mom Refresher bundle that I'm giving, then I want you to do that. So this is a bundle of things. I keep adding things to it. So I have a free book from Sandy Cooper called Mom, You're Amazing, which is an amazing book that is going to be so inspiring, so encouraging, faith-based, like such an amazing episode. That was last episode, but also her book is great. I'm also including a journal to journal your thoughts, and I'm going to be throwing in a gift card to Panera or Starbucks. Whoever the winner is can let me know, just so you can like take some time and sit down with this book and a journal and just refresh and recharge. So I'm excited to do this. To enter that, you can leave a review for the podcast and send me a screenshot of that before you hit submit on Apple Podcasts, because it won't tell me your name exactly. Otherwise, I won't be able to know who it is. So take a screenshot of that before you submit. Send it over to me either via email at alexia@mamawithacalling.com or over on Instagram. Just send it to me in the DMs. And I forgot to mention this before. If you have already left a review for the podcast, just send me a snapshot of your review from the past and just send that over saying that you want to enter the drawing for this. And then a second way, a bonus way, is if you share something about the podcast, your favorite episode, what you got out of the latest one, something like that, in your stories, and tag me and I will add you for a second entry. Okay. That ends next Friday, the 27th, May 27th, 2022 is when I'll take it down and I will draw somebody. I cannot wait to bless somebody with that package, because I know that I love reading a good book, getting inspired, getting encouraged, taking some time away from everyone, going to Panera, cozying up into a booth and just journaling, just to get, I don't know, or even just sitting outside, whatever it is. Go sign up for that. And I can't wait to bless somebody with that book. Okay. So today I'm going to be talking with Ashley Meyer of MOMpire Network. As an attorney, wife, mom of three, law firm owner, and MOMpire founder, Ashley's passion in life is showing other moms that they can build a business they love without sacrificing themselves or their family. Amen to that, right? She started MOMpire on a whim when she was kicked out of a mom Facebook group because business didn't belong there. She knew there were other moms who longed to love motherhood, but also still do business. She created a home for moms to build deep connections, true friendships, and authentic referral partnerships, which she'll talk about a lot in this episode. And this led to profitability in their businesses without exhaustion. Ashley truly believes that community is the best, most sustainable way to grow a business that you love while supporting the life you dream about. So what I love about this conversation is hearing Ashley's heart for moms, for supporting each other and bringing moms together in a way that builds community and our businesses at the same time. She makes sales sound like they are simply just this natural part of business, which they are. But a lot of times we seem to shy away from sales. And that's really the kicker for a lot of us, is that we feel uncomfortable. We don't know how, we don't know where. But after listening to this conversation with Ashley, I have a feeling that you're going to be inspired to start selling, to start standing behind your business and proudly letting people know what you have to offer through building authentic relationships. You're going to actually love selling things in your business because you know it's going to be serving others, and you're going to be a proud business owner instead of kind of shying away from that. So I can't wait for you to hear the wisdom that Ashley has to share. So let's get into the conversation that I have with Ashley from the MOMpire Network. All right. Today we have Ashley Meyer on the podcast, and I'm so excited to have you, Ashley. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm really excited to talk to you because you have this really, I think it's a unique perspective on moms running online business, or maybe just business in general. So you run the MOMpire Network. So can you tell us a little bit about what it is that you do?
Yeah, so I actually am an attorney by trade. I own a law firm with my husband. And when I was pregnant with my second son, I had two boys 14 months apart. I got kicked out of a mom's group on Facebook. And it was my kind of motherhood lifeline because I was a partner in a law firm and I was busy. I didn't really have a typical, like, let's meet up for play date kind of life.
Yeah.
And I was also very driven always. And then when it went to two kids, I didn't know how to tug along two kids to every networking event and all the business engagements and everything like that. And so when I got kicked out of that Facebook group, it was, like I said, kind of a motherhood lifeline for me. And all of a sudden I felt like this, like, loneliness. I didn't know how I was going to figure out motherhood because I didn't have any friends that had kids. I was the first of my friends to have kids, and my mom was a working mom. So she really wasn't around to like help me in that transition. And so I started a group called Mommy's Hiring Mommies almost 7 years ago, just a little Facebook group, just thought it was no big deal. I was really hurt and sad. And I was like, gosh, I didn't mean to hurt anybody's feelings. But I got kicked out of a Facebook group. And so for sharing somebody else's sale, like everything was 50% off designer kid stuff. And I don't know about any moms, but like we all love discounts. Like, hello. Yeah, that's great. So I shared it. I got kicked out. It started this train moving inside me. And I was like, there's gotta be other women that want to love motherhood, like still be moms, love motherhood, not put that aside, but also do business. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I started this Facebook group, Mommy's Hiring Mommies. The next morning, there were 250 requests to join. And 7 years ago, there may be a lot in the mom space now, but 7 years ago, there was not. Mm-hmm. I started that group because I couldn't find anything. Mm-hmm. I wanted to connect with women who wanted to love motherhood, but still do business. So I did that. And so over the years, we rebranded to MOMpire because we felt like we were so much more than what the Mommy's Hiring Mommies brand represented. And so we rebranded and trademarked MOMpire. And now we have the MOMpire Network, which is a full app and desktop platform where women come together solely for the purposes of connecting, collaborating, and actually referring business back and forth. So you get away from the shame of like, hey, I have a business and I want to talk about it, but I know it's not really accepted because people will like label me as sleazy if I do that. Like, no. Let's like honor our businesses. Let's be amazing people. Let's show up for one another. And by the way, we have businesses where we make real money. And so inside the MOMpire Network, we really push relationships and referral-based business. So the whole point of coming in is to find these amazing other moms that you connect with on a one-to-one level, and you build referral partnerships with these other moms that are tied. And we have a whole training inside the network on how you can do that if you don't know how to do it. Mm-hmm. But you build these referral relationships with other women, but it ends up going so much deeper. Like one of our members is going through cancer right now, and like how the women are showing up for her. We have another member that was just about to throw in the towel on her business before she joined the network. And now she's in the network, and it lit a fire under her. And now she's having her biggest months she's ever had, only 60 days after joining. We have another mom that left an abusive marriage and is now a single parent to a 3-year-old boy, and like trying to stumble through that transition. And we have these women coming together and lifting her up, but also sending her business. So now this mom in 45 days of joining our network has made over $7,000, which if you're a mom leaving an abusive marriage with a 3-year-old son, and you're like figuring out how is this going to work, that money is real money. Yeah. That money is the money that puts the food on the table, shelter over your head, clothes on your back, childcare if you need it. So these are the types of things that I'm blessed to be able to call I want to call them mine, but they're not mine. Like I always say, this network is not amazing because of me. It's amazing because of the women that come into it. And it seriously gives me goosebumps because there have been times, Alexia, in this business journey, because I never started MOMpire to be a business. Like I still get countless referrals to my law firm. I don't have to advertise my law firm. So I make what I make from my law firm as a result of the referral. So it's already a blessing, but then it turned into this business. But this business is only what it is because the women that come into it and say, yes, Ashley, I want to be on this adventure with you, but I want to touch all these women and change lives with these women. I want to be in community with these women. I want to do business with these women. I want to fail alongside these women and fail in community so that when I fail, it's easier to stumble and get back up. Mm-hmm. And I want to come into our calls with freaking huge business wins and life wins. Like nobody in my regular life understands these things. So when I come in to the MOMpire Network, I can share these and people actually understand the emotions that I'm going through, the highs and the lows. So that's really what the MOMpire Network is. And I'm super grateful. Like you can DM in it, you can attend events, you can have the news feed, you have a full business profile, all the links to your businesses, your bio, like it's a full networking platform. It's really, really cool.
That just sounds amazing. And I love the story of it, of how it started, because I think a lot of times we try to make business this really complicated thing. I know clients have come to me and they're just like, I don't know what I should do for a business. And sometimes it's really just the thing that you have on your heart that you're just kind of like, there needs to be something to fix this. And I feel like God puts that on our heart to say like, because I mean, somebody else could have gotten kicked out of that group and been like, forget them, or they could have been like, like you said, hurt and just not really thought of it. But you had that different thought of like, wait a minute, like this mom, like I wanted to support this mom having this business. And it's like, I don't know your whole story, but whatever it was came together to have you say something like, these moms, we can help each other. And like you said, moms can love motherhood and love business and do business. And I think that's huge because a lot of times we feel like we have to pick. And that's kind of where my podcast, where I talk to my audience too, is a lot of them are in their careers and feel like they have to pick between motherhood and doing that. And it's like, no, you can actually do both things. So let's talk a little bit about the network itself. So I'm sure people listening are like super excited about this opportunity. So some questions that come to mind first are, what kinds of businesses are these? A certain kind of business? Is this like a bunch of MLM stuff? Is it all types of businesses? Yeah. What does that look like in the network?
We don't discriminate. I'm going to be real. We are every type of business. And I don't do any direct sales MLM myself, but we have lots of amazing direct sales women that have come through MOMpire. So we are a community that honors direct sales because I feel like a lot of communities shut them out and treat them poorly because of maybe people doing direct sales wrong. But we have women that show up and like treat it like a real business and they don't spam and they do business the right way. So we have direct sales. We have brick and mortar. Like I said, my law firm, tons of realtors. We have online business. We have lots of like marketing, copywriting, website development, VAs, social media managers, like you name it, we've got it. And one of the things that I love more than anything is the way these women come together. And I love this example because these two people are like near and dear to my heart. One is my sister-in-law who does not have kids yet. She pays to be part of my network.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be moms.
Well, I mean, we are MOMpire, but I always say we're not going to turn you away from our community if you feel a connection to who we are and what we do. Like one of my best friends that I met because of MOMpire, she joined before she had kids, knowing that motherhood was a big part of her upcoming journey. And then she had twin boys, and the women in our community, the doulas, the postpartum consultants, the lactation consultants, they lifted her up and carried her through that. And what a blessing to have that. When I had my daughter, 4 or 5 years later after my boys, because of MOMpire, I didn't get postpartum. I didn't feel alone, all the things. So we have literally all of the businesses in it. And that's one of the things that's so cool. But people will always say, Alexia, but what if she has somebody that does what I do already in there? Then I'm not going to get any referrals because somebody's already doing it. Here's my answer to that. We got 2 vegan dietitians that have membership communities of their own. They, on paper, should be direct competition.
Mm-hmm.
And what I love, so one's my sister-in-law, and the other one is a 20-year nutrition and dietetics professor who has a nutrition community, a membership community of her own.
Mm-hmm.
And these 2 women like are totally different, but have the same platform. But because they come from such unique, different places, like my sister-in-law battled really bad depression. She cut, I mean, it was a very severe, like depressed childhood for her. And she had a lot of mental health issues she had to battle. She got pregnant at 16 and lost a baby. I mean, there is so much wrapped up in that. So her dietetics journey and her nutritional coaching and what she does is all about taking a person and healing their mental and emotional health through gut health and natural movement.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other side, Tim Marie, she has an amazing membership that's all about getting healthy food to the table in a fun way so everybody in the family will eat, even the pickiest eater.
Mm-hmm.
So really, they sound like they'd be competition until you actually dive in and see what they do and how they niche down. And these 2 women now outside of MOMpire have a weekly mastermind that they do together to help each other promote and build their businesses. So I love the question about, you know, what types of businesses, but it's all types. And then the beauty is when all types come together, you have crossover, and then you find deeper opportunities for learning and collaboration when you find people that do what you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's good. And that is true. People will ask, like, that's a very common thing of, but what if there's somebody else who does my thing? So can you explain a little bit about, I feel like networking, some people, in like bigger cities, I feel like go to networking events, like it's a real life thing, but a lot of us have no clue what that even means, and haven't actually done them in person, let alone online. So you said there's a training in the group, but I wonder if that will kind of, if you could explain that a little bit, because that might make people go, what does it mean to network? Like, how is that going to work?
Yeah. So networking is that it can be an intimidating term, but we call it conscious networking, where you're really actually sitting down and saying, if I'm going to build relationships with these other people, because networking is just building relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Where people go wrong with networking, where networking gets kind of dirty, is where you're going to events all the time, or you're DMing people online, and you're basically just passing a business card or passing a sales pitch, and then you kind of ghost. There's no cultivation, there's no building of a relationship. But when you network consciously, when you do conscious networking, or you network like a mother, what you're doing is actually first preparing. You're identifying, what is my goal here? Am I trying to expand my reach? Am I trying to build my revenue? Am I trying to do both? So you identify that goal first. Like, if I'm going to go pursue relationships, what is the purpose of this pursuit? Mm-hmm. Okay. Number 2, and it is okay to say, I want to pursue relationships to make money. 100% okay. Like, you want referrals, you want to put food on the table. Let's not shame ourselves for this. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Let's just do it the right way, right? Mm-hmm. So first of all, you identify your goals. Second to that, you're going to identify your personal values. And we go in deep in this in the training, but you identify your personal values. Like, what do you stand for? I'm a Christian. I'm a family-oriented person. I like referral-based business, and I don't like hustle. If you tell me I'm going to hustle, I'm going to turn my butt around and be like, bye, because that's a recipe for disaster in my life. And I believe it is for most people. So those are some of my core values. So then I go, okay, those are my core values. If I'm going to find referral partners through networking, because again, that should be your goal. I don't want people going out and networking for the purpose of a one-off sale. That's a bunch of BS. If you do that, you're going to end up in hustle. You're going to be ripping your eyes out. You're going to be exhausted, depleted. You're going to be grumpy with your family, short with your kids, all the stuff, right? So if you're going to go out for referral partners, what you then want to do is say, okay, these are my values. Now, I want to find referral partners that share my values, because then I'll actually enjoy spending time with them. And then we'll actually have things to talk about. And then we'll actually have a relationship that lasts beyond one referral, because we'll stay connected, right? Mm-hmm. Again, it's about relationships. We're not trying to cold sell people. We're not trying to shove our business down their throat. That's stupid networking. You're going to shoot yourself in the foot, and you're going to end up with no networking results. So if that's the case, you're going to identify what industries or types of people are you trying to connect with that align with your business. For example, as a lawyer doing estate planning and business, I work a lot with insurance professionals, financial advisors, and women who run mom communities, because moms tend to be the ones that say, babe, we've had an estate plan on our to-do list for like 7 years. Okay. So I met this girl, Ashley. She does them. This is the cost. And I'm going to go ahead and sign us up for that. So those are the people that I network. So then once I identify the industries or types of people I want to connect with, then I say, who do I know that shares my values and is in those industries, right? Or are those types of people? Then I start writing my list of people. Okay. And then that is where I start pursuing my connections. And the cool thing about being inside the MOMpire Network and the way it's set up, you should totally jump in. By the way, we have a free 30-day trial. I never am offended if people cancel. I've actually only ever had one person cancel, which is really a huge compliment to my heart. But like, we have a 30-day trial. Jump in so you can see the function. But really what I'm talking about here is you can go in. There's a couple functions that are really neat that help you make your networking really easy. The first one, if you go to the membership, you can find members near you. There's a button, members near you. You click it. And then so in your city, if you're wanting to actually physically connect with people, you can find women that live in your area inside the network and say, hey, I saw that you live inside in my area and you're in the MOMpire Network. I'm DMing you. I'd really like to meet up for a coffee chat. And it's awesome. So even if they're not in your industry or they might not be your ideal referral partner, you build a connection locally and then you start connecting with that person. And then they say, hey, you know what? Now that I learned more about your business, you actually need to connect with so-and-so. She's amazing. Here's her MOMpire Network profile. Like, you see what she does, DM her. And the coolest thing is the women inside the network expect to get direct messages.
I was going to say
we don't cold sell people. I don't allow it. If you do it, you're going to get kind of like shunned out of the community, because we really build, and we've never had it happen, but I think because the culture is so strong of how we do it and how we're so authentic in our networking. So we've never actually had it happen. Like, nobody pays to come in to spam people. I'm just going to be honest. Like, nobody does that. So these people, like, these women are coming in and they're saying, like, authentically, like, hey, can I have a coffee chat with you? And inside the network, we actually have what's called the coffee chat framework. So if you're new to networking or you're intimidated by it, it's just a quick PDF download. The women in our community are super used to basing their conversations around it when they do Zoom chats or even in person. There's no shame. Like, oh my God, you're using a cheat sheet? I am, because I'm nervous and I've not really done this a lot. And so all the women are so used to it. It's just part of what we do. So the women, you'll see if you join the network in the main newsfeed, women will have coffee chats with other members and they will literally post glowing like summaries of what ended up a 2-hour conversation and the heart that came out of it and how they're going to work together. Like, for example, one of our bookkeeping members, she's a bookkeeping and like a high-level tax prep bookkeeper. She had a conversation with one of our web designers. And even though they're not direct referral partners, they wanted to connect because they just felt this vibe with each other on call. So they connected. And guess what? They decided to trade services. And that's also what we love inside the network. We believe the barter economy is live and well. So like, you may not have money to do this in your business yet, but you're wanting to expand and grow and you need that support. Chances are you'll find somebody and you can post that. Hey guys, I don't have a budget yet for this, but I'd really like to expand into that. Does anybody do that? Would they be interested in a trade? This is what I could offer in trade. And it's just really cool. And so they're trading. Now, our bookkeeper, she's highly referred to from the network, but she has no web presence. She literally does not have a Facebook page. She does not have a website, nothing. Yeah. And I keep giving her a hard time because she gets amazing reviews and I send her a ton of business personally and I get glowing reviews back, but she has no website. So now this is a really valuable service for her. And then our web designer that's trading services is like, I'm so excited to not have to do my bookkeeping this year. I get to just like hands it off and it's beautiful. So it's just a gift. You have to really look at like how you can build relationships. So the networking in our community, that's how it happens. And that's how I believe it should happen on a global scale. But people get really stuck on the idea of networking as just exchanging business cards or literally like cold selling somebody. And if they don't buy, moving on, because everybody's looking for that one-off lead. But you should be looking for the referral partners that can send you a funnel of business ongoing.
Yes. Okay. So that was a great answer. I love this. And I also, as you're talking about the DMs and the cold selling, I think that one of the things that gets me, and a lot of people don't want to be this person, hopefully, is when I will get like some random friend request and I'm like, who is this? Or they'll message me and it's like, hey, I saw we're part of whatever. And it's like, there's this pretend like I've quickly learned, like there's like this pretend friendship, and then like 2 DMs in, I'm like, oh, they're asking me to join something, and I'm like, so you were like tricking me. Like it felt like there was like this trick of a friendship. So what I love about this, about your, the MOMpire Network, is that it's almost like you said, you're not shaming, and it's kind of like you are making like friendships to have potential business, but there's also like real relationships. And I think this accidentally happens in our lives anyway, if we think about it, because I have friends that have businesses online, and I did that. I exchanged services with one person. Like I made her website, and then she did some stuff for me. And it was like, we swap services, but then you start to network and talk to people. And this one person is doing this, and like, she's like, how can I support you? How can I, like, I have clients coming in and they're going to want this. I'm going to send them to you just because I know you and like love your stuff. Right. Yeah. So I think there's sometimes, and I don't know if this is normal, but you can speak to this, but sometimes we almost get to a place where having friends, I think this is a money mindset thing, but it's like having friends means that you should not charge each other for your business.
Oh,
and, like it's almost, and I think this, because I'm in the South, I'm in Tennessee, and
I can hear it. I said, I can hear it.
Yeah. I actually don't have that strong of an accent, actually.
No, but it's just an undertone.
Yeah. But so like what happens is it's almost like this honor, this badge of honor, because it's kind of, I'm in Nashville, but I grew up in East Tennessee, where it's kind of rural, like low income. And so it's almost like you're giving people this favor, like, no, I'm going to help you out of the kindness of my heart. And so I've actually struggled with that, bringing that into the online space, where it's like, and I wonder if other women do too, where if you get too close to somebody, it's almost like, I feel terrible charging for the website because you're my friend. And it's like, so that is almost sounds like your network like really blends it all together. And it's like, because you're friends, you actually love to support each other and refer 100%. Each other and potentially buy from each other. So is it just referrals do they actually, you said they buy from each other? They might do that.
Oh yeah.
So they just like trade or buy services back and forth. That's awesome.
I call it the mom economy. Like if you've done any work in the money mindset space, for those listening, it sounds like, Alexia, you have. If you've done any work in the money mindset space, you have learned at some point or heard at some point that money is simply a flow, and money flows in and out. And once you start identifying money as a flow instead of a disappearance, you start realizing that money is nothing but an exchange, and it's how you choose to exchange money. Right. And how you build strategy in your exchange is how you build wealth. And so when it comes to the MOMpire Network and the women inside, I've hired an email strategist now who I paid a lot of money to, and to me, it's 100% worth it. Yeah. I have hired kind of my blog ghostwriter and blog manager who I pay. I'm hiring a Pinterest VA who I'm paying. I have a social media manager that I pay, and all these women have come to me because of the MOMpire Network. And yes, I run it, but I don't ask women to do stuff for me for free. And I do know a lot of people that run communities that end up like people want their recognition or want their testimonial. So they'll do stuff for free for the person who's running the group because, they'll get referrals. Yeah. These women still get referrals from me, but I still pay them because I value what they're doing for me. And I want it to feed their families. And in turn, I then know that money that they earn will then be spent out in the economy as well. And it's a flow. And so once you start looking at it as a flow, there's a lot of release that happens, and you stop looking at it from a scarcity mindset. I actually did a podcast episode on our podcast with 3 of our members, and this came up, and it was kind of a funny conversation because I think people throw around like scarcity mindset, abundance mindset a lot. And people are like, oh, I just need to have an abundant mindset. And then I'll make all this money. And it feels like this abstract, unreachable idea a lot of times for people, right? Like, oh, if I just have this abundant mindset, suddenly so I'm going to read all these books on abundant mindset. And guess what? When I'm done, nothing's changed. Right. The information's in and out. But what I love about the community is when you come into a community of abundant people that are willing to give and receive, people that are willing to pay and get paid, they're naturally, you start absorbing the energy. I'm a big book reader. I do Audible like all the time, when I'm doing my makeup, my hair, except for when the blow dryer's on. If I'm in the car, if I'm like working out a lot, I have Audible in. And so I take in a lot. But one thing I know to be true is you can take in the energy of a book and be excited about something. But the moment that book ends, it's up to you to take action on things. But it's also easy to lose accountability with yourself and kind of fall off the track of pursuing whatever it is that you learn. But when you come into a community of abundant people, that energy is constant. Right. If you're engaging in the weekly calls, if you're doing coffee chats with women in the network, if you're showing up and saying, hey, I'm doing this in my business, or I have a new offering, can you guys check out my sales page and let me know your thoughts and feedback? It's kind of like a mini mastermind. I freaking love it. It's like my favorite thing, watching people be like, I have a new launch coming up, guys. I'm really struggling with this. I like cannot get the words right. Here's my 2 like write-ups. Can you guys tell me what you like better or what you'd change? Or, hey, I'm working on my elevator pitch because I'm going into these things, or I want to dial in my MOMpire profile. Like, I'm struggling. Tell me your thoughts. And man, those women just like, boom, boom, boom. Here's what it is. Here's what it is. So when you come into a community that is abundant and that energy is so high, you can't help but walk away lifted. And when you walk away lifted, you have more energy to carry you through the work that you're doing and pursue the things you need to pursue to make the money. And that's really where like that abundant mindset comes in. You no longer are afraid of like, oh, there's people that do what I do. Yeah, who cares? Let me work with those people to see how they've done it better, how I could improve, how I could niche down really for who I am and go deep on my marketing instead of the surface level stuff. And let me just watch those leads start coming in, because the deeper I go, the more people are going to relate to this version of me, to who I really am and what I really do.
Yeah. So. No, that's good. And I think that's really powerful, because it's true. We absorb a ton of information and we get all excited about a book. I did the same thing, or I would like podcast binge and I'm like, yes. And it's like, you have to do the work on the other side. And like, remember, I think sometimes we're just so fast in everything we're doing. And sometimes we can get into I've done this a lot, where I would get into the trap when I used to work my job for sure. I would drive in and, be listening to all this stuff. And I'm thinking I'm working on my business because I'm learning, but like, if you're not doing, it doesn't do anything, and like the book's over or whatever. And I'm like, cool. It's like next book, but it's like, you're not getting anywhere. And so, that's really important too. And I think it's just being intentional about that. So I love that, like the community building each other up. And like you said, other women who have been there and pouring into each other. And I think that, like you said, even though other people will do the same thing, it's what I keep thinking is like, God gives us people that like, there are people out there that are meant to be for your business. They're going to be drawn to you. And one person cannot take everything. Because I mean, even if we think about podcasts, or we think about coaches, or even like churches or anybody, authors, like, there are people that you listen and this person loves them. And I'm like, I don't really care for them, but it's
like my jam.
Yeah. Like you're just going to navigate that. And so I think women too have to recognize like they have something to bring to the table. And there are people out there who are going to love what they say just because they say it differently. Like you're talking about the 2 different vegan things. So I love that. I'm for sure going to join. You said there's a 30-day free trial, right? It's on your website.
For anybody right now. Yeah. It's just joinmompire.com. It's super simple, but it's for anybody right now. I don't know how long we're going to leave the 30-day trial for free, but it really is important to me, because I understand, like, look, money can be tight for moms. It's a thing. Like, it's just the reality. Almost 7 years of running this community. I know what the financial outlook looks like for most moms when they're starting out, and they're afraid to join things sometimes because they've spent money on coaches or products or trainings or whatever, and never really gotten that result, that planned outcome. And so I want women to dive in. I want them to take full advantage of the network. I want them to meet other women. I want them to have access to everything, 100% of the features. We don't block anything, 100%. And after 30 days of you actually showing up and actually participating in the events and the calls, co-working sessions are a big deal in our community. I'll talk about them in a second. But after 30 days, if you show up and you show up for your business, do your profile, everything, all you have to do is go into your profile and hit the cancel button. You don't have to reach out to anybody. I don't make cancellation hard. I don't want you to feel bad or ashamed or anything like that. Or I had the one woman that canceled, message me and say, money's really tight and I'm selling my house. And I thought it would close by the time my free trial ended, and it didn't. And I really just need every dollar right now. but I'm going to be back. And you know what I told her? Sis, go save on your calendar the events for the next 60 days. And even though you have to cancel your account, I want you to still show up for those next 60 days. And when you're ready, you're going to pop back in. Obviously, you won't have access to anything, but you will have those events on your calendar with the Zoom links.
Mm-hmm.
So join those calls. I don't care. I'm not going to shame you. I freaking understand. I remember going to the grocery store and like freaking out, not knowing if my card was going to get approved buying groceries. Like, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've been there. And anybody says they haven't, like, good for them, but that's probably not true. Most people have.
Yeah.
You know? And so letting people come in and try it out and actually get a benefit in the first 30 days is huge to me. So that's why we do it. I don't know how long I'll leave it, like I said, but for now it's there.
Yeah, no, that's great. I wanted to ask some quick questions before we have to end here.
Yeah,
a couple of things that I wanted to know kind of more about your journey on this is, you know, did you in the beginning, so you said you started this group and it just kind of like happened. So you didn't intend for it to be a business because you have a law firm. So how, like, I guess, why did you decide to turn it into a business and what was your thought process there?
So it was a hard decision. I'm not going to lie, because doing it for free, I did everything for free, hosted monthly events, meetups, brought in guest speakers, poured into this community, never made people pay me $1. I did that for free for 3.5 years.
Oh, wow.
And I did. And I didn't care because I made enough money for my law firm. And to me, it wasn't about the money. I got so much out of it personally, and it lifted me up so much. And just, then we'd get referrals to our law firm too. But what started happening, and my husband is my business partner. He's a lawyer and we own the firm together. We're partners in life and business. Mm-hmm. He sat me down. He's like, babe, I love you. And I love that you love this, but it's taking your attention away from the firm. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I know you want to do this more and like on a higher level, deeper level, all the things. He's like, you have to make money from it. Like, I'm sorry, I love you, but you have to do it. You cannot do this for free. You have given so much for years for free. And then here's where the struggle came. I'm like, okay, you know what? You're right. But I've been giving for free for so long. People don't want to pay me.
To switch it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I sat down at the drawing board and I was like, what do people come to MOMpire for? And it's like, they come for referrals. Well, I'll set up a directory, an online directory, and people can pay to put their profiles in it. And I mean, I spent a lot of money to make this a Yelp, Angie's List quality directory, where you could have reviews, like pictures, full profile, linkable to all your things. Like, it was amazing. Truly. It was beautiful. It was functional. You could geo-filter it, everything.
Nice.
And it didn't get me excited. Even though I was excited, the busyness of my law firm, I couldn't promote it or get excited enough to wear myself out to promote it. Mm-hmm. And so the directory died. And I want mamas to hear this, and I want women to hear this, because you are going to fail at stuff.
Yeah.
And I consider the directory failure. Mm-hmm. Not because it wasn't amazing, and I still to this day believe in it, but it wasn't the right time or the right thing. So I kept running, and I kept just kind of doing and trying my best. And then I fired somebody from my law firm. And I fired a woman who did inappropriate things. And she was very connected to my community. Mm-hmm. So she started a hashtag, mommies firing mommies. She burned my stuff onto Facebook and Instagram Live, like burned our law firm gear. And I have never been hated in my life. Maybe people didn't like me, but I've never been hated. And for the first time in my life, I was hated. Mm-hmm. And as somebody who has always been a people pleaser, who had never healed that part of myself prior to that, it was devastating. And it put me into a deep depression. And I had never really experienced depression quite like that. So it synced with my postpartum after my second son, everything. And so it just was hard. Mm-hmm. I almost lost my marriage over it because I was like, I felt unheard, all the things. So I think it's important for women to hear this, because I failed big. Mm-hmm. I stopped showing up. I stopped showing up for the women in MOMpire. I basically just ghosted. Mm-hmm. And you know what's really dumb about doing that is, in that season, I kept my gifts to myself and I stopped serving women who needed me because of the fear of what other people thought of me and my shame for failing in one attempt to monetize my community.
Right.
Really dumb. But it's something we all face. Failure's scary. So we need to come to terms with it and fail up. And not being liked is scary. But the moment you decide to stand for something and you get clear on your values and you put your values in your business and your business becomes a reflection of truly you and your values, you're gonna have people not like you. And guess what? Don't care. Because the moment you start caring about what that other person thinks, that who doesn't like you because of your values and your business, you're going to have to change who you are to please them. So why would you do that? But at the time, that was really hard for me. So fast forward, clawing my way out of depression, literally clawing. Never want to go back to that place ever again in my life. Clawing my way out of depression, I found a platform I could build where it was an actual relationship-based platform. And then also I lost kind of my love affair with Facebook. And I was like, I need a place to shut down my 10,000 person Facebook group and move out because I just need to restart. And so I started the MOMpire Network on an independent platform where everything is all integrated, where we could do all the things I wanted to do in one place. We could still enjoy Instagram because I still like hanging out over there. And it was like life-giving. And so, but I will tell you this, there were so many times I almost gave up and just said, you know what, forget it. I'm just done. Like, I don't want to do it anymore. I have my law firm, whatever. I don't need this. And there were so many times where like these small whispers would say, don't stop. I'm like, but God, I want to stop. Like, I'm over it. I feel like a failure. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I just liked it better when I could serve everybody for free and everybody loved me. And I'm like, okay, but like, I don't know. I don't have direction. I'm struggling. I don't want to admit that I don't have direction, you know? And he just kept saying, don't stop. And so I didn't stop. And the gift of not stopping is the fact that I found where I need to be. I found how I want to run it. I found how I make money. I found a way to honor my desire to earn income from what I'm doing and how I'm serving, with serving at a really high level. So I'm able to serve big and actually change lives and provide real value to people and also get paid for it in a way that I feel like is equitable. And it's a really beautiful thing when you get to do that. Like, I've had women tell me that they didn't commit suicide because of my community. I've had women tell me they didn't walk away from their marriages because of my community. I've had women tell me that they learned kind of a softer way of parenting because of my community. They learned not to give up on their business and how to handle the ebbs and flows. They learned how to cash flush their business when they were desperate for cash. So all these things, these are like desperation moments. These women have figured out how to weather them and thrive through them because of my community. And I don't say because of me, because it's not me. It's because the women that come in and do this together. And that really is really what it is. And I'm very honored that I didn't give up. There have been so many times I wanted to, and I'm very grateful because that community continues to serve my heart as much as I try to serve them. I really feel like I always get it back tenfold.
Yeah. I thank you for sharing your story, because I think that happens to a lot of us, especially when we do something, like you said, something people pleasers. I feel like a lot of us are like that. We don't want to have people come against us. And a lot of people have a fear of doing online business because they don't want to like offend anybody or not be liked or anybody. And the second somebody comes against them, it can do that. It can make you just be like, I can't. Of course, people, understanding that people are keyboard warriors and they'll say things and do things that they wouldn't in real life. And so it's hard. But like you said, coming to the other side, and what I'm hearing from your story that I hope people also will hear is that it's about serving people, like figuring out how to serve people and really going after the thing that you are, I say passionate about, but like, it's like, you knew this was something that was good and that it could help others. And it's not just about you making money. It's about like serving them and about creating this network for them And now it sounds amazing, and it's helping so many women in so many ways beyond their business. So I think that is great.
I do have to say, Alexia, you hit a really big point. That's a core value in MOMpire. We believe in serving, not selling. Mm-hmm. It's 100%. It's one of our core values in the network. Mm-hmm. And that's why people show up and don't spam. Because once they learn and really get indoctrinated into I don't like that word, but it is what it is. Like, they come in, they learn the values of the community, and that community holds strong, and they like show up, but don't violate those values. Like, those values are what allow these women to grow their businesses and make more and more income and scale up. But they also, it's the thing, we're like very anti-hustle in the community. If we see somebody hustling, we're going to call them out on it and be like, sis, this is not healthy. See how your marriage is suffering right now? It's because you're giving everything to your business, and you're not taking a second to look at your husband and say, I love you. Mm-hmm. Or look at your husband and say, how can I show up for you today? Right. Or same with your kids. Like, you learn those core values, but it's serving over selling. And if you show up and you serve, the sale will come. You just have to understand that the service is the more important part.
And service doesn't mean free. Service
does not mean free.
Right.
Service does not mean free. Right. You guys listening, service does not mean free. Like, do not be ashamed of the desire to make money. Your kids need to eat. You need to eat. You need to have clothes. You need to have shelter. Like, these are basic human needs. And you have the ability to earn income to do this. Mm-hmm. And one of the coolest things, I love the women that come into the community and they're like, my bank account's about negative. I don't know what I'm going to do. And we have women at all levels. This is the cool part, because we have women that are like up here hitting 7 figures. And then we have women that are like, my bank account is at 0. This is my passion. I try to turn it into a business, but I just honestly am flailing. And the women will say, okay, you know what? We're going to get off this community call, this co-working call, and I'm going to DM you because we're going to hop on a coffee chat. I had one woman literally say, like, I just am throwing in the towel because I've tried it. I'm overwhelmed. I'm struggling. And after that co-working call, was on a co-working call that she just like poured her heart out. Literally 5 women in the community jumped on to brainstorm and individually pour into her, sent her emails. And from that, she ended up making a bunch of money and like transitioned a bunch of things she was doing in her business. In 30 days, it was a complete flip-flop of where she was standing. So it's like, you got to have those people.
Yeah.
No, and all those women could have sold her their services, but instead they showed up for her in her need. She's like, I have 0 in the bank. Mm-hmm. Like, I cannot pay anybody. And they're all like, I'm going to show up. I'm going to talk to you. We're going to figure this out. We're going to get ideas. We're going to get some cash flush process in place. Like, let's do this. And that's what they did. And guess what? They'll get it back. Yeah. Somebody will do that for them. Like somebody the other day had a legal issue with a client that they're working with. And they're like, I don't know if this is legal. Ashley, can I have a quick chat with you and just see, like, because I feel uncomfortable. I want to make sure that I'm covering myself, that if she does something illegal, it's not going to come back to me. Yeah. Yes, I'm a lawyer. Yes, I can give legal advice. I'm not going to charge everybody to point people in the right direction. So she and I hopped on a call. I gave her some feedback. I gave her some CYA tips. And guess what? I didn't charge her because I don't care. Because I'll get that back. I have legal clients. She'll send me some. I don't care. But it's that service. You got to show up and serve.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Ashley, for all that you're doing and for being on the podcast today. Where can people find you and learn more about you?
The easiest thing is joinmompire.com is the direct access into our network. If you want to check that out, we have a whole bunch of information there. If you're looking to just follow us, go on Instagram. That's my favorite place to hang out. It's the MOMpire is our handle. Super simple. And then if you just want to check out our blog, podcast, all that, you can just go to themompire.com. Themompire.com really is our hub for everything. So you can find our Instagram through there. You can find the links to join the network through there. So that's our hub. Those are our places.
All right. Thank you so much for being here today. And I'm sure people will be heading your way.
Alexia, thank you for having me. I really appreciate the conversation.
Thanks for listening to the Mama with the Calling podcast. As always, you'll find the show notes for today's episode at mamawiththecalling.com/podcast. Really quick before you head out, Are you loving these episodes? To make sure this podcast gets in the ears of as many mamas as possible, please head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. And while you're there, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. I'm going to be reading your reviews on the podcast, so I can't wait to hear from you. Also, if you know someone that needs to hear these episodes, grab a screenshot and share it on Instagram, and don't forget to tag me at Mama with a Calling so I can share it in my stories. Until next time, keep pursuing your calling.